The lock wasn't supposed to give. Lena's hand is still trembling when the door swings inward anyway. Some trick of the old mechanism, some cosmic joke. And she slips inside before she can talk herself out of it. She presses her back hard against the mahogany, pulls the door shut, and just breathes. 5 minutes. That's all she needs. 5 minutes where no one in this estate can watch her face do what it's currently doing. Don't. She presses the heel of her hand against her eye socket. Don't you dare. Rowan. His name comes out like she hates the shape of it in her mouth. She does. She hates that she said it at all. Hates that it still costs her something, that the humiliation of this afternoon is still sitting in her chest like a swallowed coal. He chose Mara, in front of the whole East Wing, smiled while he did it, while she shoves off the door. The office smells wrong for an empty room. That's the first thing Lena registers. Not dust, not cold. Cedar and pine. Sharp and warm and deeply disturbingly male, something wild running underneath it like rain-soaked earth at the edge of a forest. She chalks it up to whatever cleaning oil the last maid used and pulls the dustcloth from her apron pocket. Hands need something to do. Hands without a task are dangerous right now. Lena moves to the nearest shelf and starts. Her motions are stiff and over-deliberate, the performance of someone holding themselves together through sheer mechanical stubbornness. "Okay," she whispers to a leather-bound spine. "So, he didn't want you. That's fine, that's fine. People get dumped. It happens. You're a maid in a pack estate, not a fairy tale. So maybe..." A strap slides off her shoulder. She shoves it back up with a sharp, embarrassed noise, even though no one is there to see it. Fantastic. Even your uniform thinks this is pathetic. The candle on the desk flickers. Lena goes still. No window is open. The air hasn't moved. She watches the flame tip sideways, steady, sideways again, like something displaced it. Something breathing. The cedar scent deepens. Her pulse takes one long, slow trip up her throat. She turns her head slowly toward the far corner of the room and sees nothing but shadow. Thick, pooled shadow, the kind that the candlelight simply doesn't reach. "You're alone," she tells herself. "You're catastrophizing because you're upset and the room is too quiet and..." The shadow doesn't move, but it watches. Lena turns back to the shelf and keeps dusting, and doesn't understand why her hands won't stop shaking. Lena moves behind the desk. She knows she shouldn't. There's a clear, unspoken law in pack estates. Maids clean the surfaces they're permitted, and the alpha's desk is not a surface anyone is permitted. But her feet carry her there anyway, because standing still means standing inside her own head. And her own head is currently a small, airless room with Rowan's name spray-painted on every wall. "You're a coward," she whispers, dragging her cloth across the edge of the mahogany. She's talking to the air, to Rowan, to the version of herself that spent 3 months believing his silences meant depth and not disinterest. A coward who picked the easiest option and dressed it up as a choice. Her voice lands flat in the thick silence, and she immediately winces. God. She's monologuing to a dead man's furniture. She moves faster, pushing toward the center of the desk where a neat stack of leather-bound books sits beside an unlit second candle. And her elbow catches something. A soft, weighted thud. She spins, and the journal is already open across the mahogany, splayed wide like she's cracked something open at its spine. "No, no, no!" Lena reaches to close it. Her fingers touch the page. And stop. The handwriting is precise. Dark ink, not hasty, Dad. It's deliberate, every letter pressed with intention, the kind of writing that knows it will be read again. Soft brown eyes, the kind that carry something. Not sadness exactly, but the memory of it. Flushed cheeks, dark hair, one strand loose against the side of her neck. The strap of her uniform sliding. She doesn't fix it, doesn't notice. She moves through a room like she's trying not to disturb the air and disturbs everything anyway. Lena's breath snags hard somewhere between her lungs and her throat. She reads it again. The strap. The strand. Her strand. Her strap. Details so specific they could only belong to one person. Could only belong to her. She flips back. Just a fraction. Just enough to see the date at the top of the page. Weeks ago. The temperature of the room spikes like a door swinging open onto something enormous and hot and alive, and Lena's fingers go cold against the paper, even as her face burns. "What the hell?" she breathes and turns. Kaya stands 3 feet behind her, not emerging from shadow, not stepping forward, already there like the darkness simply decided to take his shape and stay. Lena's back hits the desk edge hard enough to bruise. The journal skids sideways under her palm. Her lungs forget their function entirely. Caius's eyes are gold, not metaphorically, not a trick of the candlelight. Gold, burning through the grey like something ancient clawing through a civilized surface. His arms, uncrossed now, hang loose at his sides. That's almost worse. Coiled stillness. A predator who stopped pretending to be patient. "How long?" Lena manages, her voice embarrassingly unsteady. "How long have you been standing there?" "Since before you were." A pause. Measured, deliberate, designed to land. "I was here when you unlocked the door, Lena." Her name in his mouth feels like fingers around her wrist. "That's..." She grasps for the word. "That's creepy. That is genuinely, certifiably..." "You came to cry over a boy!" Not a question. The flush hits her face so hard it stings. "I came to... It wasn't... Rowan is an idiot and I just needed 5 minutes of..." Something happens to Caius's face. Not dramatic, barely a shift. The jaw tightens. The gold in his eyes bleeds a fraction darker, and the temperature in the room drops 2 degrees in the span of her inhale. "Don't." The word is quiet. That's what makes it terrifying. Say his name again in this room. Lena's spine stiffens on instinct. Fear, yes. Primal, electric. Every wolf-adjacent nerve in her body screaming rank, rank, apex, careful. But underneath it, something sharper. Something that sounds, humiliatingly, like defiance. "Maybe," she says, "you should stop writing about maids in secret journals if you want privacy." Caius takes 1 step forward. Just one. It reorganizes the entire geometry of the room. "I knew your scent," he says, low, almost conversational, "before I learned your name." Lena's mouth opens. Nothing comes out. The words dissolve somewhere in the charged air between them. 6 inches of space that feels more dangerous than distance. Then, behind her. Click. The lock. Sliding home. No hand near it, no key. Just the room deciding, in the way that rooms belonging to alphas sometimes decide things, that this particular conversation wasn't finished. Lena doesn't turn to check. She